It's your man Alex, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys my take on a high fade, short length self haircut. The more haircuts I give myself, the more and more I get better, and I appreciate all of the feedback from all of you in the comments who push me to try different hairstyles and techniques because, as you may or may not know, I'm by no means a licensed barber whatsoever. I love cutting my own hair, and I've been doing so for the past 15 years. So without any further ado, here's what I did to give myself this high fade, short length self haircut. So to get started with this self haircut, I'm using my trimmers to put in the first guideline. Now I'm going in with the trimmers, bringing it down to skin, and notice how high I'm bringing the first guideline, literally right above my eyebrows, and I'm going straight across toward the back of my head. Because again, this is a high fade self haircut. Now for the second guideline, I'm going to be using my clippers with no guard, lever open, and I'm only going up about ½ an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. So I'm keeping the guidelines relatively tight because I'm already so high up my head because it's a high fade. So I'm going to shorten the distance with the fade because it's a high fade, right? Because that first guideline was really high up my head, I have to then shorten the distance that I'm fading in all the guidelines, which is why the guidelines are ½ an inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch toward the back of my head. Now moving forward to remove the guideline, I'm closing the lever and putting it into the halfway position. Then I'm going to go in and put it fully closed. So it's basically a 3-step process to remove the first hard line, right? So the hard line was put in from the trimmers to the no guard lever open. Now I put the lever in the halfway position, and then I'm going to put it in the closed position, and then I'm going to use the trimmers again to fully remove the hard line. Okay, that's 3 steps to remove the hard line. Now pay close attention to my left hand as I'm cutting my own hair. Notice how I'm grasping the top of my head and extending, right? I'm pulling my scalp on the skin on my scalp to extend the distance that I can use to fade, right? So just keep that in mind as an extra side tip. Notice how here, again, I'm using my left hand to stretch out my skin to open up the distance for that guideline so it can be easier to fade. So to kind of clarify the fading process for the first hard line, remember I said it's a 3-step process. So the first one is no guard lever halfway. That just softens up the hard line. Now the no guard lever closed is what removes about 90% of the hard line, and then currently going back to the trimmer is what removes the full 100% of the hard line. Now using the number 1 guard lever open, I'm going up about ½ an inch to 3/4 of an inch, but a little bit different here. I'm kind of freehanding, going straight up off my head at a 90-degree angle, and I'm just cutting whatever hairs fall into the blades. So really all I'm doing is cutting straight up, perpendicular to the ceiling at a 90-degree angle, going straight up and just letting whatever hair falls inside the clipper blades get cut, and I'm just forming the shape of the haircut right here with the number 1 guard lever open. And so now to remove the hard line that I just created with the number 1 guard lever open, it's another 3-step process, okay? So I've got the half guard lever open on my clippers right now. So half guard lever open, that's step number 1. Half guard lever closed, that's step number 2. And then I'm gonna go back to the no guard lever open as step 3 to fully remove the hard line. So remember, with the half guard lever open, we were really just softening up the hard line. It removes maybe 50% of the hard line. Now I'm using the half guard lever closed. This is going to remove about 90% of the hard line. And then afterwards, I'm going to use the no guard lever open, and that should remove 100% of the hard line. So now for step 3 of removing the second hard line, I'm going back to the no guard lever open, which was the previous guideline guard that I used, okay? So really, this is a really good tip here. If you guys ever are stuck with removing a hard line, always go back to the previous guard and lever position you used to put in the hard line in the first place, okay? That's a very powerful tip. I tell that to all of my Self Haircut University members. So now moving forward, I'm using the 1.5 guard lever open, and I'm going up. I'm kind of freehanding again, but I'm still going up like 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, just making sure that really all I'm doing is shaping the head so I can go back in and fade it in a little bit easier after. Really, the most important thing here is creating the correct shape for the hairstyle that I'm going for. So now that we've faded in all of the guidelines, I'm going back in with my thinning shears held in reverse, and I'm doing some detail work. So really what you're trying to do here is use the full blade as the bottom blade and just drag that on your skin and cut directly at any bulk or any hard lines that you can see. And this is what I found to be a very good way to remove hard lines throughout the fade. Now, to fully blend in the fade to the longer length on top of my head, I'm using my thinning shears over comb to blend everything in. Now, I know this might be a little bit more advanced for some of you guys watching, but I promise you, if you guys can master using thinning shears, your blends will always turn out superior. And just, I'm telling you, thinning shears are game changing. You need to have these tools in your toolbox. This is my version of a high fade, short length self haircut. Let me know what you guys learned, what you liked or didn't like in the comment section below. And don't forget, subscribe to my channel and check out this video for more self haircut tips and tricks.